I applied to 11 schools.
Okay. And how many schools admitted you?
7.
Okay, so 7 out of 11. Tell us where you're going to go.
I'm going to go to Oberlin College in Ohio.
Okay, so exciting. Can I start us off by showing you something that I think is kind of a fun memory?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so check this out. This was the first time I met you, and as we know, I had helped your older sister. Tell me what you remember about being this young and first starting to hear about the admissions process.
I think my initial thought was, I'm so happy that I haven't had to deal with this yet.
Right.
Distracting my sister a little, but I think it was really comforting to start to get into the process like 2 years before, just so that I could wrap my head around what I needed to do. So yeah, I'm glad I was able to sit with you guys and listen to the conversation.
Folks, one of the first things I want to say as we share this is that so many people wait a really long time to start. And there were benefits to starting younger because you had strategy you were putting in place way sooner, way sooner than your sister. And then in my little show and tell, I have one other image to share, which is fun, which is Lauren's outcome. So there she is. Tell us a little bit about what happened to your big
For
sister.
UCSB, which was like her dream school. It fit her really well. And this picture, I had to take her college photos, for Instagram and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's really fun to take her picture, but like her look genuinely happy about the school that she was going to.
So let's talk about you. I'm so excited with where you're heading. So I looked back, I had a little fun with this. I looked back at our early exploration. Can I read you the list of what you first thought might be your major?
Of
There's
course.
like 10 things on this list,
Yeah.
and then we can tell the story. So when we first start, and this is why it's helpful to start in 9th, 10th, right? As opposed to waiting till 11th when you're up against it. So liberal arts, architecture, women's studies, Asian American studies, engineering, foreign language, linguistics, classics, math, statistics, environmental science, psych, social sciences, or visual and studio art. So just a few little things in there that you were
Yeah.
doing at
Good
college.
variety.
The truth is you were a very strong student, so you could have gone into any of these directions.
So yeah, I think I chose environmental studies, which is the major that I applied as, just because I think I could really make a difference in that field. And I'm also just genuinely interested in it.
And this is where I always do this or this intersections,
Yeah.
but the intersection, because the truth is you're a very gifted visual artist. And, to be able to talk about arts and sciences as not necessarily mutually exclusive, but to see the value that you uniquely bring to that field because of these diverse abilities you have.
Um, I thought I didn't even realize that you could use the intersectionality of arts and sciences. Like I didn't even recognize that that was a thing before I met Pamela. So that was really cool just to learn for myself.
I definitely was excited that you were not having to chop off parts of yourself in order to fit a box that you thought the colleges wanted. The colleges want the whole person. So I think it's very important that candidates understand to bring a 360-degree version of themselves. With your permission, can I share your self-portrait? Because we did share this with the schools, and it speaks to environmental science, I think, in a very particular way. And so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and tell us a little bit about how you see this image impacting the way you think about being an environmental studies major.
So I think the ability to render images that people can relate to or resonate with, just in this way, I guess, is a great way to get more people exposed to art within science.
I just love the image and so many of the others that you also shared. So, we did put together a portfolio of images that there was a horse, there was some fashion items, there were some colors, some black and white, some charcoal. And this was not to apply into a fine arts program, although we had the conversation that perhaps you could have gone that route, but you went this other way. So I want other students who are thinking about how did you get the outcomes that you got to really think about the intersections of their talents, to think about how can they showcase those in a
My unweighted was a 3.95 and my weighted was a 4.47.
Okay, beautiful. 4.47. So, and some people go, how do you go above a 4? Every time you did an honors course and you got an A, they didn't average in 4.0, they averaged in 4.5. And every time you did an AP course, they averaged in 5.0 for an A. These things really make a difference in the numbers that honestly, a lot of the colleges, they're sorting and sifting students according to those types of numbers. Now, as we know in the pandemic, a lot of schools went test optional. And so this is a little bit, you were in a class where you could have applied test optional, but didn't necessarily have to.
So I was tutored in ACT prep with Pamela's company, I think,
Yeah, member of
um,
the team. Yeah, we were
yeah,
helping you with our curriculum that we put together. Tell us how it went.
he provided great resources for books, like prep books, and the time that we spent together was always valuable. I felt like I was actually learning stuff instead of like going through the motions. And I ended up getting a 30 on the ACT, which
Mhm.
was just super exciting. I think I was just proud of how much effort and time I put into it to get like good results. You really need to set yourself up in like prep time to be successful on the actual test.
Yeah, doing those drill sets and speed drills is so important because you don't just have all the time in the world to sit and think about things. That the clock is ticking, and that's really part of the challenge that people have. I'm so glad you had a great experience with the team on the test prep side. So let's talk about, so you did end up with, I want to say, 5 or 6 APs on the transcript after senior year. Is that correct?
I believe so. I think I had 6.
Yeah, yeah. And then a lot of honors along with that, right?
Yes, a lot of honors.
That's cool. Admit rate there just has been really, really increasingly selective. So good for you. Congratulations. Tell us about some of the other schools that admitted you and how you decided where you wanted to actually attend.
So one of the other schools that I was really thinking about was University of Washington in Seattle.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously some of the UCs because their prestige and their name, that was really exciting to look at and be like, oh, that would be so cool if I could go there too. I think I chose Oberlin for the community, for the way they presented themselves on websites, um, their engagement with the actual admitted students too. Um, I was personally reached out to by the chair of the art department from Oberlin because she was saying how I love that you mix environmental studies with art. Like that is such an Oberlin type of thing to do. And we think that you would be a really good fit here.
Um, a lot of students I work with do end up at U Washington. That also is a really great school, but it's a huge school.
Right.
Right? And that's, I think size of school is also a factor. Oberlin is not small by any means, but it's not, I mean, there are some schools in this country that have, 35 to 40,000 undergrads,
Mhm.
and then there are some that have 1,000. So really thinking about what is your lived experience going to be in terms of class size and in terms of, as you rightly say, feeling that you are perceived and reached out to and able to connect on a human level. Um, because I think the goal of education isn't just to pour knowledge into our heads in that transactional way, but to connect with other thinkers.
Yeah.
We amplify one another's brilliance by sharing perspectives, and you want to be with people who are really bright because they up your game, right?